Since 1946, Hitchiner Manufacturing Company has defined state-of-the-art in the metal casting industry. In the 1960s, the company designed and built the first mechanized investment casting plant using automated shell building equipment and conveyor systems. Hitchiner's exclusive countergravity casting techniques, pioneered in the 1970s, are generally considered to be one of the most significant advancements in the history of casting technology. In the decades since its initial development, the basic countergravity casting process has been refined, automated, and enhanced, with numerous technologies that make it now unrivaled in the industry. Beyond the foundry, Hitchiner is a leader in applying the latest technology and controls to the shop floor throughout the manufacturing process. Robots are employed at various phases of the production, particularly in shell building, where the precise layering of slurry and stucco is critical to producing a consistent product. Numerically controlled machines are utilized in a variety of milling, boring, grinding, machining, and assembly operations to bring final dimensions to exact conformance with specification. Hitchiner's North American operations are based on three manufacturing divisions: Ferris USA Operations and Gas Turbine Operations, located in the United States in Milford, New Hampshire, and Mexico Operations located in Santiago, Tangistinco, Mexico, and in San Luis Potosí, Mexico. These divisions are supported by Metal Casting Technology Incorporated, a wholly owned research and development subsidiary of Hitchiner Manufacturing Company located in Milford, New Hampshire. At the heart of Ferris Operations is Milford, New Hampshire's automated casting facility, a 90,000-plus square foot facility that employs some of the most advanced automation in the casting industry. This location is the main production facility for wax injection, pattern assembly, shell building, casting, and heat treatment operations. State-of-the-art high-volume machining equipment enables Hitchiner to supply castings machined to print and sub-assembled when specified. Gas Turbine Operations is located in Milford, New Hampshire, adjacent to the corporate headquarters. Established in 1983 as Hitchiner's Gas Turbine Division, the organization has experienced steady growth since its inception. This division primarily services the jet engine component market and specializes in producing hot section parts requiring sophisticated vacuum-melted alloys, with emphasis on complex, thin-walled applications. Hitchiner's Mexico operations consists of two locations, one in Santiago, Tangistinco, providing front-end casting services, and the other in San Luis Potosí, which is a finishing and component assembly plant. Hitchiner Manufacturing Company is the premier supplier of complete-to-print, high-volume, complex, thin-wall castings and fully finished casting-based sub-assemblies and components using the investment casting process. This process is one of the oldest and also the most modern of the metallurgical arts. Hitchiner castings are at work in the sub-zero vacuum of space, in the fiery combustion chambers of jet aircraft, on the world's streets and highways, and in a myriad of other applications. Yet the root of this technology, the cire perdu, or lost wax process, dates back thousands of years. The artists and sculptors of ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, the Han Dynasty in China, the Benin civilization in Africa, and the Aztecs in Mexico used the lost wax process to produce intricately detailed artwork of copper, bronze, and gold. Investment casting is a complex, multi-step process. The process begins with the production of wax replicas of the desired castings. These replicas are called patterns. Complex multi-cavity dies are often used to cast ring segment patterns with several part replicas attached to a center ring. The wax injection operator controls the wax injection press and is responsible for ensuring that patterns that meet the required tolerances are produced. Depending on the type of product and its sophistication, a variety of special handling techniques may be required. This may range from stacking indexed ring segments to placing delicate individual patterns on cooling blocks. Accurate recordings of count and variance from specification is required at this and all stages of the production process. Lower volume products and extremely complex assemblies are often painstakingly hand-assembled by skilled operators. Pattern placement on the central wax sprue is exacting and must be done in strict accordance to design in order to ensure that a suitable mold can be produced. Robotics are sometimes used for jobs requiring highly accurate pattern placement. At Hitchiner, specialized shell-building robots are used to build the shell. This automation provides for a consistent product and allows for larger molds that could be built by manual methods. The shell is built around the wax assembly in layers by carefully immersing it into liquid ceramic slurry, making sure that every contour is properly coated. The wet ceramic is then placed in a rain chamber and coated with extremely fine sand. For some applications, the mold may be immersed into a bed of fluidized sand. Up to 8 layers are applied in this manner. Shell operators use mold manipulation devices to load and unload assemblies and shells from conveyors. Other shell room jobs include the mixing and testing the viscosity of the slurry and filling of sand hoppers. Once the ceramic is dry, the wax is melted out using a rotary dewax machine or a steam autoclave, creating a negative impression of the assembly within the shell. At Hitchiner, much of the wax is reclaimed, purified, and recycled. The dewax operator is responsible for loading and unloading the molds and monitoring the proper functioning of the equipment. Again, any variance from specification must be recorded for process control. Prior to casting, the ceramic molds are loaded into high-temperature burnout ovens, which burn out any remaining wax residue and prepares the mold for casting. Due to the weight of the molds, manipulators are used to assist the operator with this task. Whenever high heat is encountered, aluminized aprons or jackets, heat-resistant gloves, helmets, shields, and other safety items are worn by the operators. In the conventional process used by most foundries, the shell is filled with molten metal by gravity pouring. As the metal cools, the parts and gates, sprue, and pouring cup become one solid casting. After solidifying and cooling, the parts must be cut away from the central sprue using a high-speed friction saw. Hitchiner uses its exclusive countergravity casting services to cast the mold. The advantages of countergravity casting over gravity pouring are numerous and well documented. They include higher yield, lower non-metallic inclusions, controlled grain size, reduced waste, thinner walls, and tighter tolerances than achievable by the best traditional methods. In Hitchiner's countergravity processes, molten metal is drawn up into the mold cavity in a controlled fashion, reducing splatter and turbulence. The vacuum is released when the parts and portion of the gates have solidified, allowing the molten metal in the central sprue to return to the melt. Because a path for the cutoff blade does not have to be provided in the design of a countergravity casting cluster, many more parts per mold can be included in a countergravity assembly, greatly improving throughput and efficiency. Regardless of the process used, foundry operators are responsible for melting the metal using the correct ingredients required to produce the desired alloy. The foundry technician controls the induction furnace and is responsible for deslagging the heat and preparing it for casting. After casting, the metal cools and shells are tumbled, stripping them of the now brittle ceramic coating. Countergravity cast parts do not have a solidified central core. Only a small gate stump remains after casting, which is easily removed by a mass production grinding operation. At this step in the process, operators load the metal parts into specifically designed fixtures and introduce them into a variety of specialized cutting and grinding machines. Tolerances, once again, must be closely monitored to ensure that the parts stay within the desired parameters. Hitchiner Manufacturing Company has the capacity and experience to offer complete-to-print machining and subassembly operations, delivering a fully finished component ready for installation in the final product. A wide variety of jobs fulfill these finishing services, including machining, boring, straightening, and polishing. Often parts and samples of their respective heats are subject to rigorous testing and evaluation. These tests include X-ray inspection, fluorescent penetrant inspection, and precise dimensional tolerancing using sophisticated coordinate measuring equipment. Once the component is completely manufactured, it's packaged and shipped to the customer on time and meeting all technical requirements. Whether inventing new methods for casting or automating the shop floor, Hitchiner is constantly striving for new and better ways to create the best possible product. At all of its plants and operations, imagination and metallurgy is the hallmark of Hitchiner's success.